Hi, everyone out there in the world of YouTube or wherever it is you may be just checking out this clip. If it's on another platform and you listen to this intro, you should mosey on over to YouTube if you're seeing this on Instagram or Facebook and watch the full video because I have a unique guest. She is featured and distinguished at the same time. I can't believe it. It's so great. This lady has passed the exam, but yet she's not licensed just yet. So she's featured so she can tell us her experience on passing and studying for the exam and getting ready to be licensed. So my special guest today, because she is unique and falls in between being featured and distinguished, is Miss Moyo Oluyinka. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, to doing this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Of course, it's Christmas season at the time of recording this video, which is Tuesday, December 22nd. So we want to lighten the mood because it's been rough and tough year for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But you persevered and passed the 4-part CPA exam, so that's a great way to end the year.
Right before the end of the year. That was a goal of mine, actually. I thank God for it, honestly. So I'm excited. Like, it's still surreal. I keep saying it, like, it doesn't feel like I'm done yet. My sleep pattern has not adjusted yet. So I'm just happy to be able to say 2020 ended with me being done with the CPA exam.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll get started with the first question. I always ask, what is the name on your birth certificate?
Okay, so it's long. I'm Nigerian, so it's beautiful. It is Moyo Oluyinka. But I say Moyo for short because that's what my family members call me, so it's easier. But when I hear the full name, I know I'm in trouble.
Okay, and what does it mean?
Moyo Oluyinka means I rejoice of God's gift. So I'm the first of 3 kids to my parents, and when I was born, there was this question about, oh, is it a boy? Is it a girl? Do you want a boy? And my dad was like, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a gift from God, I'm happy. And so that's how I got my name.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You get the shortened version, Moyo. That's pretty cool.
It actually got shorter in college. So I would be like, just say Mo. Mo's fine.
Okay, so it's even shorter than that. Isn't that something?
Okay, however people can pronounce it, I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay, so where are you from?
I currently reside in Baltimore, Maryland, but like I said earlier, I'm Nigerian, so I've been in Baltimore, Maryland for going on 19 years now, give or take. I moved to Pennsylvania, I think 2016. Yes, I moved to Pennsylvania 2016 because I was tired of Maryland. I was over it. I was like, okay, I need a break. So I moved to PA, Elizabethtown, PA, very small town, and lived there for about 2 years, and then I came back to Maryland right before the COVID. Yeah, so far so good. I'm glad to be back with family, you know.
Okay, that's where your family is, most of your family?
Yes, most of my family is in Maryland. Yeah.
Okay. So do you mind sharing your age or when did you
Sure. I don't mind. Never asked your age. No, I'm 31. I don't look like it, but I am.
Of course not. Of course not. But just to give us some perspective on this CPA journey.
Yes.
So that's why I asked, because you have some people start right out of college, mid-career, or maybe on the back end of the career, but it was something that person always wanted to do or achieve. So it's always.
I'll be honest, it wasn't something I always wanted to do. I started, so like I said, I'm 31. I graduated college. I went to Morgan State University.
Okay.
Go Bears. So I graduated in 2020, and while I was in college, undergrad, I studied accounting.
Okay.
Accounting, finance minor. So I was in the business school pretty much for all my college years. And while I was there, I did start with the CPA track curriculum, because that's kind of what they tell you to do. Like, if you want to take the CPA, it was like the thing to do then. Like, if you're an accounting major, then you have to take the CPA. But I was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to do it. I still took the curriculum, though. And I got
we got to dig deep and unpack that, but keep going.
Unpack it. But so yeah, I took the curriculum, got 150 credits out of undergrad, so I was ready to go by Maryland standards.
Right.
But I was just like, no, I don't think I'm gonna do it, because I heard horror stories about it. To be honest, and it wasn't very attractive. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna work as an accountant, make money, and that's it. But yeah, did that, and so it wasn't always a dream of mine, but here we are. years later, 10 years later, and it's a different story, but we'll unpack more of it later.
Okay, so you majored in accounting, or was your major finance?
I majored in accounting and minored in finance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after undergrad, you went right into working?
Yeah, so after undergrad, I went right into working. 2010, I started off at a small mental health clinic, but it was more corporate. So
Okay.
I had the dream to start publicly, because that's the best way to go as an accounting major. I don't know why they say that, but they say that in school, like public accounting is the best way to start your career. And I initially had the opportunity to work in public accounting, but again, horror stories. And I was like, I'm not gonna work 60 hours a week. No, that's just it's not for me. I don't envision myself doing that. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the corporate route. And there's some challenges along the way, but I was more comfortable with that. And so that's how I started my career in corporate accounting. And then I moved to a publishing firm, and then it just started off. And I've always been in corporate ever since. So.
Okay, corporate. Is there any particular area that you've started to specialize in, or particular like departments, like if it's internal auditing or tax?
So I will give like a quick story of how I started. So I started off as an accounting associate at a mental health clinic, and then I transitioned to a publishing firm. So I'm a publishing company based in city of Baltimore, Maryland, and I started as a staff accountant there. So it was more so the revenue recognition, sales reconciliation team then. And then an opportunity came up, I think 2 years or 2.5 years into my career at that publishing firm, to kind of help out a senior accountant in revenue recognition. So that's how I got into revenue recognition, and I enjoyed it. I really did, because you get to actually see how the money comes in, recognizing the money using ASC 606, all the cool stuff that you eventually learn, you know.
You actually got to apply some of it. Okay, that sounds foreign to me, but that's good.
I did. It was, no, trust me, it was foreign to me back then too. I was just like, I'm doing the work. Let's just do the work. But then after working there for a few years, transitioned to the general ledger team, where we really worked on like the financial accounting, the financial reporting. It was a private company, so focused more on that and supporting like the transactional team. And then I transitioned to work at another firm, corporate, of course, but more from a financial perspective. So I was a financial reporting role. I was in a financial reporting role at the time. So I didn't get to use a lot of accounting in that specific role. And I started the CPA journey in between. I started in between those two. So as I was learning, I was like, oh gosh, I'm not even applying this stuff. But now I feel like I'm more in the arena of revenue recognition. It seems like that's kind of where I'm moving more towards now. So yeah, got to experience revenue recognition side, transactional side, sales, reconciliation. So it was like a mixture of a lot of things, but not tax. Definitely not tax. No.
Okay, before we get too far along into the interview and leave college behind, why did you choose accounting, finance?
So it's an interesting story. That question comes up every time, and I'm like, why did I choose accounting? So technically, honestly, I wanted to go to college to study performing arts. I love being creative. I love arts. I love the arts. I enjoy, like just being able to express myself. I did say that I don't like being in the spotlight. So
I was like, that's a contradiction. You said you want to be behind the scenes. That sounds like you want to be on the stage.
That's the thing. I would be the one, like in high school, it took everything in me to be a part of a play. Like I wanted to do it, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be in the spotlight, but I enjoyed the creative side of things. So if I could perform it in a room with like one person, I'm good. But like being in a room filled with people, it's something, not necessarily stage fright, but it's just something that I didn't really, But anyway, like I wanted to go to college to just study performing arts, and just I think it was just more so being able to just express myself. It wasn't really to make money or to have a degree in it. But obviously, being African, being Nigerian, that is not the best route to take. So I had to think about, okay, what other options are there? I enjoyed math. My mom was a math teacher. So yeah, it was inevitable. Like, okay, numbers. Let's think numbers. I wasn't gonna do science or engineering. I don't like sciences. So yeah, so that's how I chose accounting. And then I started to learn more in college. Like, wow, it does tell a story. So there's that creative side of things where the numbers give character and they tell a story. So I think kind of like merged two parts of my world together. Yeah.
Okay, so you took the practical route.
I took the practical.
Smart
I
route.
took the
Okay.
practical route, the
Okay.
sustainable route.
I got you.
Well,
So that steady income, right?
yeah.
I understand. But this will probably allow you to be more creative now
Yeah,
that
yeah. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But that's how accounting started, and then finance came about because, again, the 150 credit track
Mhm.
with my curriculum in college, I had the opportunity to take other classes, and I was like, why not finance? Let's do it.
Okay, you
Yeah.
got it
So
covered.
yeah.
Alrighty. So, in deciding to actually study for the exam after going through college and being out of undergrad for a few years,
Yeah.
what prep course or review materials did you choose?
Yes. So I decided to take the exam 2018. I evaded it for about 8 years. People told me, you're gonna take it, you're gonna pass it. I know you got it. And I was like, nope, I'm not taking it. So it's an interesting story because I'm a woman of faith, and 2017, literally it just smacked me in my face. You're gonna have to take this exam.
Mhm.
And I was just like, I can't, because it's just too much for me. I don't feel like sacrificing all that. Like, I knew what it would require of me, and I ran away from it for so long. But 2018 January 1st, I said, okay, God, if you want me to do this, you're gonna have to show up. You're gonna have to make it happen. I know it's expensive money wise, and it's demanding time wise. So I prayed about it, and sure enough, the opportunity came to ask my employer about, resources. So I used Wiley to answer your question. I
Okay.
used the Wiley resource. I compared between Wiley, Becker. I chose Wiley because a team member had, recommended it. Everybody in college talks about Becker. Even now, it's still about Becker.
Yeah.
But I chose Wiley because, one, she used it and she explained that it actually tells you when you're incorrect and why you are incorrect, the rationale behind your answers, and then the packages that they had. I ended up choosing the platinum package. Glory to God, my job at the time was willing to pay for it, and that
Okay.
was when I knew, okay, this is something that I need to do, because I prayed about it and I can't back out now, because I had said, if you make it happen, I'll go ahead and do it. And so the company was generous enough to support me in that decision, and they supported me financially to get the course. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Did you have a
Yeah.
choice, or did they prefer Wiley, or
I
you?
had a choice. I actually was just the one who said, hey, I'm thinking about pursuing the CPA, and these are the resources that I'm considering. Is it something you're willing to help with, or could you support me? And they were like, you know what, just let us know what resources you need, get all the funds together, how much it's going to cost, purchase it, we'll reimburse you. And I was just like,
Wow.
where do they do that at?
Wonderful. So they
Yeah.
remember you were able to purchase
Yeah.
all parts, all
Mhm.
sections at
All
one time.
sections, all four. Yep. It cost, how much was it? It was about $2,600 just for the resources alone. And then they reimbursed me for the exams while I was with them. So I left that company, I know, in between. It was just a lot going on at that season of my life. So, and I felt really bad. I was like, but they're helping me, in this,
Oh,
on this journey.
right.
But we had that conversation, and they were very, kind, and they're just like, just let us know when you pass. We support you in whatever decision I was blessed. It was a
And there were
blessing.
and there were no strings attached.
No
Consider
strings
you just
attached.
said you left the company, so you didn't have to repay it.
None. Zero. That was how I knew this was God. Honestly.
And you said
Honestly.
it started in 2018,
2018.
so
Yep.
now it's 2020. You just recently passed that last
Yep.
section. So this was a 2-year journey.
2-year journey. Took me 2 years. It was really a 4-year journey. I knew in 2016 that it would be something I would pursue.
Right.
But again, I ran. I was just like, nope, 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 not gonna happen. And then 2017, God was like, I'm not playing with you anymore. Figure it out. And so 2018, I said, all right, we're gonna set our feet in motion. And 2018, December 2017, actually, I purchased the resources. 2018, January 1st, I started studying BEC. So my
Okay.
first section that I took was BEC, and I was scared. And at that time was when I had moved into a different role professionally, so it was hard juggling, balancing out studying, because I hadn't studied. Well, actually, yeah, I hadn't studied for 4 years. I graduated grad school. I pursued my MBA in
Okay.
2012, finished in 2014, and then stopped studying. So for 4 years, I hadn't really been in that studying headspace. So it took a while to kind of adjust to that. But yeah, 2-year journey, 2018. August, I took BEC. I didn't know how to feel, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, I don't even know what to do. But going in, I will say my experience at the center was just like, oh gosh, this is like intense. Like the search alone.
Right, you feel like you're going into prison. Never
Honestly,
to be let out and see family ever again.
like
Walking
I
through
promise,
daylight, no windows.
you go in the morning, you're coming out, it's nighttime, you're like, wait, what happened?
I
You're still
remember
totally
those
innocent.
days.
Yeah. So the first experience, I was rattled up. I was so nervous and so tense. And I was like, I promise you, I don't have any weapons. Like, what is this? But I went in, I did my best. I walked out believing I failed it. And I feel like that's the kind of thing about the journey too, is you never leave the exam knowing that you passed. Like it's not a thing. I want to meet someone who actually felt like they passed.
Felt confident, like, yeah, I got that one. I
Right?
aced it on that. I know I passed. Right. I don't think so, because you're right. Every time you hear somebody talk about it, that's when they feel like they know they fail. That's what they know. I know I failed that one for sure.
Right.
And
Right.
that's when you pass.
Exactly.
And when you think you do well, if you ever, we ain't gotten to any retakes, but I'll use the first one example. For those retakes,
I had
you thought you may have done okay.
And you what?
You failed.
That was me with audit. So I took BEC first, and I thought I failed it, and I was like, "There's no way." And then I got my score, and literally, I was just sitting there. I was like, "I passed." like
what?
Oh, I was so confused, but I was like, "Hey, thank you, Jesus." But then the thing about it is, at that moment, the time clock starts. Like 18 months, you have to make sure you pass all 4. So it's like the remaining 3. So it's all pressure for me. And 2018, a lot of things happened even during that time. Like further into the the interview question, I feel like I'm jumping ahead, but like just to give
you. So did you have any curveballs or some unexpected life?
Yeah, unexpected happened. So 2018 August, I took BEC. September 2018, I got in an accident.
The next month.
Yes, the next month. Like literally the next month. I got in a hit and run, and my car got totaled.
Oh man.
Yeah, so at the time, like I said, I lived in Pennsylvania, but I was still working in Maryland. So that it was like an hour, 30-minute drive one way, 3 hours both ways. And I don't even know how I did it back then. I'm never doing it again. But I I got in an accident. It was a hit and run, and it really shook me up because I was not expecting. No one ever expects an accident. 1, 2. Financially, I was not in a space to start looking for cars, so that just really threw a wrecking ball in my plan and my process, and I had to kind of stop studying, figure out, okay, what am I doing with my car? Am I getting a new car? Am I taking this? Am I fixing it? So a lot of things happening there between Maryland and Pennsylvania, the car laws, the DMV. It just was a lot. So I took a pause, I think, for about 3 months. And I was like, I can't. I just
while the clock is ticking, you took a break.
Exactly. You imagine. But mentally, I was just exhausted, and I could feel myself just getting tired. So 3 months, and I was like, all right, 18 months, you got to do this. Like, you got to go. And then I started studying again. February, I took audit.
Okay.
The first time. And I say the first time because yes, there were retakes. This was my battleground. Audit was like audit. Yes. Okay. Audit did not want it. It didn't want it to happen. So I took audit February. During that time, I had switched jobs. So because again, the accident, it really rattled me, and I was like, you know what? I need to stop being on the road. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna get a job closer to home in Pennsylvania. Stop driving to Maryland. Still going on interviews, job scouting, studying for an exam. Audit came February, I believe 25th, 2019. I took it, and I was like, I think I did well. Remember, we were talking about when you feel like you did well. I think I did well. I think that was good. I got my score, and I was like, oh no, this was not it.
You'd be like, oh man. You do something to your psyche.
Right. Like, what were you thinking? How did you think you did well? Audit was very tricky. If there's one section that I know that I've heard a lot about that people have had challenges with, it was audit. For me, it was audit for me personally, and the people I spoke with too were like, yeah, audit. Even auditors were like, even audit was hard for me. They took it a few times. So Second time I took it, so I studied again. You know, I was like, all right, let's just regroup. Let's do this again. April, May, take it in May. I took it in May, failed it again. I only got, my score went up 3 points. And I was just like, okay, this is getting a little challenging here. Let's not lose our mind. Don't lose your stuff.
Right.
just relax, breathe,
Right.
calm down. What did you do? What can you do differently? You know, what did I do and what could I do differently? So I was like, all right, maybe I need to up my hours of studying. Then I was studying 2 hours in the morning before work. I would study for 15 minutes during the lunch break, or 30 minutes on my, I had the app as well on my phone, study that as well, all Wiley. And then come back home, study for another 2-3 hours, go to bed, get to work, do it all over again.
Gotcha.
So third time, I took audit again, and I got a 72. And I think I lost it at that time. I honestly think my mind was just like, yeah, you're done. Oh no, like I think back now, I'm laughing about it, but it wasn't funny back then. It really wasn't. And
were you on the verge of having a nervous breakdown?
I had a nervous breakdown. I was not on the verge. I had.
I'm glad we can laugh about it now.
Honestly,
but I can sympathize because I've been there. I remember like I took off work for a day or two. I just couldn't even get out of bed.
No, yeah.
Like just was crying and you questioning your intelligence.
You question your ability to even think straight. You question, am I competent enough? Do I even know how did I even get this job? It took a lot from me. I think it was a nervous breakdown and slightly a mental breakdown. Because at work, again, it's a new job. You're trying to get accustomed to how things are done. So that on its own is already like shaky ground. You don't feel confident, and then you have an exam that you're failing. So I just felt like nothing in my life was really just going well, and I started to just lose touch with reality at some point. And I had to reach out to my parents, like, listen, I feel like I can't sleep. I got anxious. I never had anxiety before in my life. Ever in my life, and that season was so hard, and I just was like, okay, something has to change, something needs to be different, to the point where I didn't even want to tell people when I was taking my exam anymore, because it just felt like there's no point, like what's the point of all that
extra pressure and stress.
Extra pressure and stress. That's exactly it. And so I got that 72, and my world just was just like, I can't do this anymore, I'm tired. But my dad said one thing, and I'll never forget it. He said, okay, well, what do you think you can do differently? Do you feel like the things that you've been doing right now, they're clearly not working? So sit down. I know it hurts and I know it's hard, but think about what could you do differently? And so I just sat down, annoyed. I was very upset. I was very annoyed at myself, at God, at everything. I was just irritated. But I calmed down and I said, okay, let me think about this. So I started Googling, like, okay, tutoring sessions. Maybe I need to be in class, in person, maybe one-on-one, something, anything different from what I was currently doing, which was just studying by myself. I didn't have any support system. Nobody else was on the journey with me but me. So I Googled and I found like a tutoring program. It's called Tutor the People. And so I reached out to them and I was like, I'm really desperate right now. Like, I've taken audit 3 times and I don't feel like I can handle another fail. Like, if I fail one more time, I think I might just literally lose my stuff. And so we just had a conversation, and then they were able to provide me with like a program. So I bought a few hours. I think it cost me about $900. This is an investment, by the way, for anybody who's on this journey. I was just keep going, but it is definitely an investment. So after the 3K that, I was reimbursed back, exam fees, $900 for a few hours, and I connected with a tutor. And so we studied one-on-one every other day. We would meet up for about an hour and a half. I would tell him my pain points. He would watch me take questions and then be able to identify where I missed, why I got a question incorrectly. But either way, he was just able to see my test taking skills and give suggestions. And I bless God, because I took audit the 4th time and I passed. I got an 89. And I was like, oh,
you were 72 to an 89?
Yes. Within
great investment.
Yes. I honestly, I advocate for, if you feel like you're stuck, just get a tutor. It seems like it's an additional cost, but there's the other side of it where you will pass. The goal is to pass at the end of the day. Nobody really, I don't want to say nobody really cares about your score, but nobody really cares about the score. Like, when you
That's true.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know.
So talk more about that, because this is the first
Yeah.
time I heard someone say they got a tutor for the
Yeah.
CPA exam.
Mhm.
So this program or this company, did they pair you with a
Yes.
CPA, or
Yes.
was this truly about test taking skills? Or
So the Kirby, it's a combination of both.
Mhm.
So there's a listing of different things that you're looking for. They offer different services. For me specifically, it was for the CPA exam. So what you do is you input some information or some data. I specifically wanted somebody who had taken the CPA exam before. I wanted somebody who is a CPA, because it's one thing to take it, it's another thing to actually have it. So you've gone through the process, you've passed it, you know how to take the exam. And I also specified like my schedule, like my timing. So yes, they paired me up with a guy. I remember his name is Mike, I think, and he was a CPA. He is a CPA. He's still alive. So he's a CPA, and he took audit and passed it, I think, with a 90 something. So they actually are able to provide the scores of their exams as well, as
Okay.
if you want to be
So,
transparent.
but you were able to select the criteria
Yeah.
or identify certain criteria that you wanted in a potential tutor.
I was, yeah. So
Okay.
it helped me kind of narrow down and focus and hone in on what I really needed, because I'm paying for this. I'm not just gonna connect myself with anyone. So I filled in criteria, and we met. The thing about it is, you have, I think, 2 tries to meet with the tutor. When you meet with the tutor, if you feel like it's a good match, then you're fine. If you don't, then you can always reach back
Okay.
out to the team and say, hey, I connected with this person, and I don't really feel like, they meet my, not my expectations, but my requirements. Do you mind pairing me with somebody else? And they're willing to do that. Yeah. So we met Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, an hour and a half, and we would go. So we would share our screen. He used Skype. Each tutor is different, but he specifically used Skype, so we could, before the time of Zoom and the pandemic, Skype was Skype was the tool then. So we would share screens, and I would read my questions to him. Also, um, with the tutoring, I also got another course. So in addition to Wiley and the tutoring, I also got Gleam,
Okay.
or Gleam. I don't know how to pronounce it. I never know how to pronounce it. But I got that audit book specifically. So I
Okay.
had online access and the textbook. So I would take that as a supplemental studying material as well. So I had 3 different things this time. I
Okay.
was not
Took out
paying.
all the stops.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be the 4th try at this point.
Yes. This was try number 4, and try number 4 was the pass, and I thank God for it. I mean, I was mind blown, and I was never able to check my score, so my mom always checked it for me. And when she told me this, I was like, "Are you sure you're looking at the right thing?" 'Cause
Oh, so did that give you the momentum to go and pass the other 2
it
right
sure.
out the box, or were there some retakes? Because you had
So it really did. That was my only
regulation
retake.
left.
So I had regulation and far left. So
Okay.
regulation, I mean, and I'm gonna put it into perspective, because again, I'm sitting here as a testimony. I will say that, because the fact that I can even laugh about it is a testimony.
Right.
I knew I had a breakdown. Even after audit and after that pass, I was at a point mentally where I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I wasn't even there anymore. So I actually decided to quit my job. Also, yeah, I decided to quit my job after I found out that I passed. It was overwhelming, and I didn't feel like I was performing to my best ability at work. It felt like I was divided in between, and it was a difficult thing for me to actually process, because you see people working full time and taking the exam and juggling so many different things, and I'm here like, but I'm not even juggling anything. It's just work. Like, why can't I even do that? So it was a challenge for me personally to just sit back and say, Moya, it's okay. You do what you need to do to pass this for you.
Right.
So I ended up quitting my job, and it was tough. It was hard being someone who's worked for years, like being independent and then not having a source of income. Yeah.
Right. But did you have a support system that were
I did.
financially, or
No,
you had saved up in a position to do that? Did you?
so I saved up, but I also had a support system. My support system was so strong, and I'm so grateful. I really am so grateful for them, my parents, my family members, and my friends. My family really came out. They mind blown. They really just, like, they carried me, because at a point I couldn't do it. I
Right.
saved up, but I was only able to sustain myself for about 2-3 months, and I was out of work for 9 months. Yeah. So, well, I've been out of work since 2019, and so it was a hard decision. But they said, you know what, if this is what you need to do, we will support you. So I thank God for that. And it was hard still. Like, I didn't want to feel like a burden. Like, come on, like you're a grown woman. You should be, getting out the gate, doing your stuff and passing this exam and keeping it moving. But I had to. I think for me, it was also a lesson in humility. Not that I was an arrogant person, but there's a side of humility that this also taught me. Like, you have to lean on the people that you call family or friends, or people that God has placed in your life. So I leaned hard. It was tough, but I leaned. I learned how to lean on people in my family, and so they helped me out a lot. And I think that also helped me get in the headspace of, okay, just focus on the exam and pass it. Regulations, to be honest, I was there, but I wasn't there. I wasn't present. I was mentally just done. But I had to keep going because, one, I started this process. I can't quit. No.